We are joined by two registered voters, Chris Glover, a registered Republican, and Anton Moore, a Democrat, and they are joining us live from Philadelphia. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So first, Chris, what are the big issues that matter to you right now?
Yeah, there's three issues that really come to mind when I'm going to the polls today. It's crime, the economy, and education.
Anton, what about you? So I'm not hearing your audio. Can you check if you're muted?
I'm sorry.
There you are.
I think I share the same sentiments with Chris. Crime, the economy, and education.
Okay. So Chris, one more question to you here. Was it a no-brainer for you in terms of voting for Dr. Oz? What did you think of his performance in last month's debate?
I mean, I think the performance spoke for itself. I think he was campaigning at that against somebody who I felt should be home, resting and recovering. I don't think that was a good showing, and not someone that I would recommend be in a position of leadership. But I think he did a wonderful job against Fetterman in that debate.
Anton, what about you? Despite a lot of concern about his being fit to serve, were you confident about voting for John Fetterman? And how much did his health battles affect your opinion of him as a candidate?
It didn't affect my opinion none, because at the end of the day, we have a lot of people that's dealing with health battles or dealing with different things. At the end of the day, it's about morals and actually about doing the work and not just showing up, say, hey, I want to be a part of something or I want to do something. I know Fetterman. I see Fetterman. I know things he's done for returning citizens, and the conversations I had with him, he really cares about Pennsylvania and making change.
And right now, Anton, Pennsylvania voters are dealing with, like you mentioned, a lot of crime. Gas prices are extremely high inflation, of course, like it is across the country. For you, how is voting as a Democrat the answer to some of these issues?
We look at it because if you look at it, we go through these strings of things. I mean, if you look at gas prices with the president and some of our elected officials, that's not going to change overnight. Because if you look at it, some of these things was a problem when Donald Trump was in office as president, and things didn't change. So at the end of the day, we have to look forward to the future and say what we can get done, on the ground level and in Washington as well.
Chris, how much does the fact that your vote and others could shift the balance of power in the House and the Senate weigh on your mind as a voter?
I don't think it's any more important in this election than it is in any election. I think the ability to vote has been a right. I think it's a right that we should basically take advantage of any election. You're supposed to be picking people that represent us, that can move us forward, and to the best of our ability, we should go and do that. When you talk about energy, and I look at the fact that Biden comes in office and immediately cuts off a gas pipeline, and I see this inflation on the energy side take place. I drove the turnpike yesterday, and I see that the toll plaza has no diesel fuel for trucks. That clearly is concerning to me, and I need somebody that can go into leadership and be able to address those issues as quickly as these issues have been disrupted.
Could you, Chris, make a case to Democrats right now as to why they should reconsider and maybe vote for the other party, in spite of the fact that there have been disparate reasons for becoming a Democrat or Republican? What would you say to those voting today who are still undecided, swing voters particularly?
I would just say, look at what's happened here. I've allowed Philadelphia to be run by Democrats for the better part of 50 years, and the crime is through the roof. I have a person who is asking to ascend to the highest level of state government who has done nothing about that crime. That is a problem. I would say that if you're looking to fix crime, you should go to people who have fixed crime, people who have been in war and are able to address criminal behavior. I would say that you need to go, when you're looking at the economy, go and look at people who have fixed inflation or are trying to unleash energy independence. In the state of Pennsylvania, we sit on liquid gold. We could change the inflation, we could change the economic outlook of this state overnight if we were uncapped and not held back. So I think that if you go to the poll and you're looking at where you're living right now in the state of the world right now, I would ask yourself, are you better off? Is your family better off? Is your family safer? Is your family more prosperous? And I'd probably say the answer to that question is no. And look at who you have allowed to be in office to get you there, and possibly consider trying something different.
Anton, I have the same question for you. What would your appeal be to those who have not voted yet, who might be Republican or swing voters or independent voters who are trying to make a decision today?
Well, my good brother just mentioned something about education. You can't say, hey, we need to deal with education and say, like the Republicans, we're going to cut education when you look at violence. Everybody talks about violence and getting things in order, but they lack details and they lack specifics. So those are the things that we need to talk about. So if we're talking about helping struggling neighborhoods, you can't talk about cutting programs that benefit the neighborhood, that help them keep going. So if you're going out to vote today, vote with your conscience. Vote with people that's willing to invest in the infrastructure of our neighborhoods.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.